Hello and welcome to Prime Business. I am Pius Kojobaka. Deloitte West Africa has disclosed that policy tightening, fiscal discipline, lower energy costs and a stable cedi will support a sustained decline in consumer prices. More in this report.
In its April 2025 West Africa inflation update, it however cautioned against domestic inefficiencies, which it said will remain an upside risk to the ongoing downward trend. Ghana recorded a fourth consecutive decline in inflation in April 2025 to 21.2%. In that regard, the professional services said the Bank of Ghana will have more leeway to adjust monetary policy as inflation falls further. The International Monetary Fund is projecting a high year-end inflation rate for Ghana of 17.5% compared to the government's 12%. Deloitte said food inflation remains a significant driver of cost of living pressures despite the decline to 25%. Inflation for oils and fats recorded the highest inflation in the food and beverage subclasses. The monthly inflation for April 2025 increased to 0.8% from 0.2% in March 2025, indicating a resurgence in inflationary pressures.
We want to stay a while longer with Deloitte because they have emphasized the need for homegrown policies to tackle domestic inefficiencies that could undermine Ghana's current economic progress. According to Associate Director Financial Advisory at Deloitte, Dennis Brown, these policies would help address pressing issues such as elevated inflation and foreign exchange shortages. Speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Brown maintains by implementing homegrown policies, Ghana can create a more stable economic environment.
Yeah, we did mention domestic inefficiencies in our report. And if we talk about domestic inefficiencies, I could cite two major ones. On the monetary side, for instance, I did mention that if we are not careful and create perception of there being shortage in supply of the USD, the market will react, in a way that will hurt us. So people will rush for dollars to hold it because there's a sense that, it might be in shortage, and that then will kick us into significant depreciation. They will then have a pass-through effect that will then begin to, increase inflation. Then we also talked about fiscal discipline, which is also a domestic measure. If government fails to maintain the fiscal discipline that it has, followed so far, then we are going to run into issues on the supply side, right? Domestic inefficiencies that exist already in relation to, for instance, the value chains that are underdeveloped. We talked about this several times, that there are productive, sectors of the economy that are doing well in terms of production at the primary end, but how the goods finds their way into the market, there are so many bottlenecks that then creates opportunities for those in the middle line to profiteer, and at the end of the day, the final price to the consumer is increased. If we can fix those bottlenecks along the various value chains across the multiple industries that we have, then we'll be able to also keep inflation at bay. So these are some of the domestic inefficiencies that we have to use homegrown policies to address.
While longer on the economy, manager macroeconomic research at GCB Bank PLC, Courage Buti, is calling on the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana to maintain the policy rate at 28%. In an interview with Joy Business, Mr. Buti highlighted recent improvements in macroeconomic indicators and a steady decline in inflation as key reasons for holding the rate steady. Now, according to him, keeping the policy rate unchanged will reinforce confidence in the bank's inflation targeting strategy and signal a commitment to sustaining this inflationary momentum.
Well, I think at this point, it will be too early to cut a rate, despite the declines in inflation we've seen. Inflation now 21.2, with monetary policy at 28, you have a real policy rate of above 7%, which I think is what those levels is what we've seen in the peak years of Addison when we try to keep inflation within check. It was at a point around real policy rate around 8% thereabout. If you go by that thinking, and the fact that inflation is on the downtrend, I think this window would keep the policy rate at 28%. To one, signal the intent to sustainably bring inflation down. If we had this comment yesterday, yes, 21.2 is good progress, but it's still very high relative to what our target is and all that. And they will need to keep that if you like, guidance to the market that they intend to keep it down. They would also want to keep it down so that at least they keep it at the level to ensure that real policy rate get to a level they are very comfortable with. And then you might see a more significant cut maybe from July when they meet in July, by which time inflation would have receded sufficiently and make enough room for a more significant cut. So I see them holding their rate. But what they will likely do at this decision, this meeting, will be to decouple the current cash reserve ratio from the loan deposit ratio.
Now, the Ghana Stock Exchange Index recorded over 30% growth in the first quarter of the year, beating its competitors in the West African sub-region as the best securities market. Managing Director Abinamwa has revealed now she attributed the feat to renewed confidence in the market and an uptick in activities by investors on the bears.
From the market so far this year. As of May 18th, the GSE equities market has recorded a very strong performance. Our index was up over 30%, the best in West Africa. Our financial stock index is also up about 33%. And there's renewed investor confidence and robust market activity. Our market capitalization at over 143 billion Ghana cedis is a growth of over 70% compared to the same period last year, but it's still paltry compared to our GDP. We are looking at a market capitalization of only 5% of our GDP. This number should be about 30% where we stand in Ghana. On our fixed income market, volume achieved or traded so far is about 87 billion versus 57 billion at the same time last year, up about 53%. And so there's progress being made here.
While longer at the capital market, and government will borrow 5.55 billion cedis on the Treasury market tomorrow, 23rd May 2025. And this will be done via the issuance of 91-day, 182-day, and 364-day bills. More in this report.
The funds will be used to settle maturing bills worth 5.35 billion Ghana cedis. Demand for the short-term instrument has declined in recent times, with the government missing its target for the third consecutive week. Last week, investors submitted 5.35 billion cedis in bids, but the Treasury took only 2.76 billion Ghana cedis, a sharp pullback from the previous week's full acceptance. The auction fell short of the 6.68 billion Ghana cedis target and 6.44 billion Ghana cedis in upcoming maturities. Yields on the 91, 182, and 364-day bills dipped week on week. Some analysts say the Treasury's selective acceptance reflects a deliberate effort to contain upward yield pressure despite tightening liquidity, as institutional demand shifts toward the Bank of Ghana's 56-day bill, which raised 10.9 billion Ghana cedis last week.
The Association of Ghana Industries is anticipating a reduction in tariffs, citing the impressive performance of the Ghana cedi. Speaking on the sidelines of the Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency B2B Expo in Accra, the Chief Executive Officer of AGI, Seth Chumakwabwa, said a reduction in tariffs would ultimately lower the cost of operations for businesses.
It will impact cost of operation. It takes a while, but it will. For example, recently we had increase in electricity tariffs, right? From I think to about 14%. Now, a major determinant of the cost of electricity when they are doing the automatic adjustment system is the exchange rate system, and then the international oil price, energy mix, and all that. So we expect that in the next review, for example, all things being equal, with the improvement we've seen in the city, we should have it should reflect in the energy tariffs.
Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Ghana Industries, Seth Chumakwabwa, welcomed the drop in producer price inflation for April 2025.
We know how the inflation is calculated, and it's very much determined by the producer price index. And I think for some time now we've experienced stability in the economy. We've seen the cedi gaining some weight, and there has been encouragement to companies, to businesses, to traders to reduce prices. And as the price reduction is going down, then we expect to see a reduction in the PPI. So I think it's a reflection of the improved macroeconomic conditions that we are having, and we welcome it.
Acting Director in charge of Renewable Energy at the Energy Commission, Frederick Appiah, outlined plans to introduce a net metering system aimed at promoting efficient energy use and boosting investment in renewable energy solutions.
And PRC, that's the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, has come up with the metering rate, the net metering rate, the tariff mechanism. So what it means is that when you export to the network, how much you are due, and when you consume, how much you should pay. And it serves as a savings for you because the energy, the excess energy would have gone waste, but now you are benefiting from it. And also there's a subsidy mechanism to that project that we are bringing. What it means is that you will get some kind of money, an amount to top up and buy a new solar system. And then in addition, you will get a free net meter. We've already finished the regulations covering it. Energy Commission has published a net metering code.
The Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency B2B Expo, organized by the Association of Ghana Industries and the AGI Energy Service Center, brought together stakeholders and businesses across Ghana's renewable energy space.
As the world drifts towards cleaner, renewable and sustainable sources of energy, Nexans Kabelmetal Ghana Limited has commissioned a 532 kilowatts peak solar plant in Tema. Chief Executive Officer of Nexans Kabelmetal, Alexander Kwakupo, the plant is the largest of its kind within the sector. More from Kwame Yanka.
Nexans Kabelmetal Ghana Limited, a subsidiary of Nexans since 1968, has produced high-quality cables for the local market and others within the sub-region, maintaining international standards. The company has played an important part in the country's electrification, serving residential, commercial and tertiary, construction, mining and real estate sectors. The fully ground-mounted solar plant will generate 47.7 megawatt-hour monthly, meeting 55.5% of the company's daytime power need and 25% of its energy consumption. Nexans Kabelmetal Ghana says the solar plant will help in reducing reliance on fossil fuel, meeting an annual greenhouse gas emission target of 4.2%, having already helped cut emission by 11.7 tons per quarter. Here is the Chief Executive Officer of Nexans Kabelmetal Ghana Limited, Alexander Kwakupo.
At Nexans Kabelmetal, we are delivering to a wide range of market segments, not only the building wire segment, which we've been known for the past 50 years, but we've also diversified into other segments, including the real estate, commercial, industrial, power infrastructure, and very strongly in the mining sector as well. So this facility, by way of the cost efficiency, energy efficiency that it brings to bear, would help us serve these market segments better. I believe that we can move hand in hand with industrialization, with innovation, all driving together toward a cleaner, a safer, and a more energy efficient world.
Managing Director of Daystar Power, the company behind the installation, Victor Ezenwoko, says solar power will play a key role in Africa's industrialization journey.
This project gives them more than 50% of their daytime power. So you can see that their industrialization is actually powered by solar and this system here. Right? So during the day, more than half of what they use is coming from the system. It means industrialization for large-scale companies like this in Ghana is possible with solar and is the future because it helps them meet their sustainability targets, but also save costs. So they're able to reduce on their power bills, which makes them more profitable. So it's a myth to say that it is not sufficient for industrialization because I don't see how African countries, especially Ghana and Nigeria, can industrialize without infusing solar energy in their mix.
Meanwhile, Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Jinapo, commended Nexans Kabelmetal for their solar project and shared some key policies.
The operationalization of the Renewable Energy and Investment Fund to catalyze green energy investment and financing. We are also introducing the National Net Metering Tariff Guideline, spearheaded by the PRC, which will provide clarity and predictability for solar producers. But more importantly, I'm pleased to announce that in line with the President's vision towards attaining a 24-hour economy, the Ministry of Energy has begun the rolling out of all-in-one solar street lights and LED solar street lights across Ghana.
French Ambassador to Ghana, His Excellency Jules Amand Anyambosu, Vice President, Power Grid and Connect, Middle Eastern Africa, Attila Curtis, Board Chair of Nexans Kabelmetal Ghana, and MD of ECG, Julius Kwame Pepena, among other guests, graced the occasion.
Away from the energy sector, government is undertaking a review of the current automobile policy to include provisions for the assembly of larger trucks and construction machinery. Now, this initiative forms part of a broader effort to expand the local automobile assembly plant and enhance industrial growth. Minister for Trade, Industry and Agribusiness, Elizabeth Ofusue-Jare, made this known during a visit to the headquarters of Zondatech Ghana Limited in Tema.
Visit by the Minister of Trade, Industry and Agribusiness forms part of initiatives by the government to engage industries on the 24-hour economy to increase youth employment. According to the Minister, Elizabeth Ofusue-Jare, Ghana's automobile policy is being reviewed to provide incentives to industries in the tipper trucks and other construction machinery space. She believes that working with the company on the policy and the flagship 24-hour economy will support job expansion.
We want to create giants in the auto industry so that they can employ more. Now they're employing 500 Ghanaians. We want them to double it, triple it. We've had discussion with them. They're also interested in plugging into the 24-hour economy, 3 shifts, 3 workers, 1 job. So if they are tripling what they are doing right now, we can only guess what will happen here. The auto policy does not cover the big trucks that they do. So we are reviewing the auto policy to include what they do. And I think these are the things that will encourage them to produce more. I'll be traveling to China under the instructions of His Excellency with them and other Chinese companies. We want to go to China and bring more people to invest in the auto sector and other subsectors of the economy. So I'm happy at what I'm seeing.
Managing Director of Zondatech Ghana Limited, Yang, expressed commitment of her company to invest more in the country's auto industry.
We assemble heavy equipment like bulldozers, graders, excavators, and also tipper trucks, trailer heads, oil tankers, and flatbeds. And in the meantime, we're enjoying auto policy by assembling the pickups, the SUVs. Now, we are in our #1 factory. We have 3 factories. We also have 8 branches. We have a staff over 500. Ghana is a very positive environment. I love Ghanaians because, you see, I always say Ghana is like a white paper. Depending on how you are writing on it. If you have a positive energy, you write positive energy on it, all of the Ghanaians will follow us doing positive things.
The Trade Minister and her entourage examined some of the vehicles already assembled by the company as part of his working visit.
The Design and Technology Institute, in partnership with Accra Technical University and with support from the MasterCard Foundation, has launched a significant initiative aimed at incorporating precision quality into technical and vocational education and training known as TVET curricula. The collaboration is part of ongoing efforts to strengthen Ghana's TVET and livelihoods landscape by aligning classroom theory with practical industry demands. More in this report.
Between the Design and Technology Institute DTI and Accra Technical University is aimed at bridging the gap between classroom learning and industry demands through the introduction of precision quality training. This initiative seeks to equip students with job-ready skills and improve livelihoods. Speaking at the launch event, founder and president of DTI, Constance Elizabeth Swanica, underscored the importance of embedding industry-relevant skills with academic institutions. She also called on government and other institutions to support enhanced collaboration for meaningful economic growth.
Through these partnership arrangements, DTI and ATU are establishing a new national benchmark, one that will serve as a standard for delivering TVET with global precision standards, strengthening public-private collaboration for national development, and repositioning youth to embrace TVET as a dignified and a prosperous career path. Would like to extend an open invitation to the government of Ghana to collaborate with DTI to scale this model nationwide. DTI is prepared to partner with public institutions to catalyst economic transformation through skills training and youth employment.
A speech delivered on behalf of the Deputy Minister of Education by the Director of Tertiary Education, Dr. Emmanuel Newman, conveyed the ministry's full endorsement of the initiative.
This inclusive approach aligns perfectly with government's goal of reducing youth unemployment and improving access to technical education. Let me assure you that the Ministry of Education supports this initiative wholeheartedly. We are committed to developing policy frameworks and enhance sustainability, promote industry co-management of training centers, and facilitate job placement through embedded internship and certification schemes. The Tertiary Directorate stands ready to support you in all your endeavors in dimensions of this nature.
Regional Chair of the Association of Ghana Industries, AGI, Chonam Klensakpelo, expressed his excitement about the initiative's potential to inject quality into the industrial sector.
For the first time, we're having graduates that are ready for employment. In fact, if you go to most of our factories here in Accra, in Tema, you see that most time we have to even bring people, factory hands from India and other parts of Asia. But with this precision education, it allows us to have our graduates not only trained technically, but also to acquire the ethics and the discipline required to be hired in our factories. And so AGI is super excited about this initiative, and we fully endorse it.
The collaboration marks a significant step towards preparing Ghanaian students for the evolving demands of the workforce and reinforces the role of technical and vocational education and training in national development.
Remember, you're still watching Prime Business. The Member of Parliament for Wa East constituency in the Upper West region, Dr. Godfred Seidu Jasso, is calling for the revitalization of agricultural cooperatives with a renewed focus on supporting cocoa farmers across the country. Speaking at the official launch of the Cocoa Farmers Alliance Association of Ghana, Dr. Jasso stressed the urgent need for cooperatives that are not only functional, but also well-structured to real challenges faced by cocoa producers, particularly in rural and underserved communities.
The Cocoa Farmers Association of Africa is a unifying body dedicated to representing and advancing the interests of cocoa farmers across the African continent. Speaking at the launch, Dr. Jassau said such cooperatives should serve as a bridge between government policies and grassroots realities, helping farmers adapt to climate change, improve yields, and gain access to better markets.
If we had functional cooperatives that are reoriented to be the recipient and source of any intervention that is coming to cocoa farmers, the cooperatives are really run as small business that have social or community interests as well. These cooperatives can be the source of receiving these inputs for onward supply to their membership. That way, my view is that there's increased accountability, there's increased relationships between the people. It's not easy for me to be so close to Alex or Francis, and then we are running a society, inputs come to us to share, and I alone appropriate it. It's not possible.
Executive Secretary of the Côte d'Ivoire Ghana Initiative, Alex Asanvo, called for a strong collaboration between the two countries.
People can use other countries to threaten, to weaken Côte d'Ivoire Ghana, and this is what we have been facing the past few years. So it's important you farmers help us advocate why it's important. It's normal at the border, you bring your cocoa there and vice versa, that's okay. But when the whole system is built on smuggling and become more and more, there is a problem we all need to sit and discuss. No one alone has a solution. So, sorry I derailed a little bit, but I wanted to bring back the importance of alliance.
COFA's aim is to advocate for cocoa farmers' rights, provide capacity building opportunities, facilitate market access, and promote sustainable practices across the cocoa value chain.
I truly appreciate your time. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Prime Source is next with Razak Musbao.